Hey, Gasser Dave here. I had an overheating problem with the Gasser again when I turned on the AC and stuck in traffic when it's like 100 degrees outside. I'm having a slight overheating problem. So I'll show you what I did to fix that. I bought a new radiator setup, one that's guaranteed not to overheat, which it doesn't anymore. So let me show you what I've done. I used to have this radiator set up. Now, with this radiator, I tried doing a electric fan, but a pusher fan, because I didn't have room to put in a puller. But I had a 3300 CFM Flexolite fan and had wave technology, but yet it wouldn't keep it when I was in traffic. With my high horsepower, it wouldn't keep it cool. So what I did is I went to a complete new radiator setup. This is the PRC radiator. It comes with the side panels. It's one whole unit. The core support comes out. This one bolts in its place. I also bought a pass-through for the AC lines, and I had Vintage Air bend up some new hard lines to run to the condenser. I did put new panels in here, new inner panels on both sides, and I put the horns on each side. I had to rewire the car because with this old radiator, you have room on each side where the side panels, so I had the horns on there. I had a bunch of wiring on there. So what I had to do is I had to do different wiring. I made a mount for the MSD box where it bolts to the core support, and then you see on top of it, these are the two relays that run both of these new fans that I have, new electric fans, and you can see the clearance that I have now. I also went and found the correct radiator, or excuse me, the radiator hoses to put in it. So you see it's a nice smooth transition. I did have to change out. I had a 45 degree and I put in a 90 degree water pump. I also had to do all new wiring, and when I did the wiring this time, I actually put these fittings so where I can unplug the MSD box if needed, and I can go straight like a plug and play. I put over here, you see these are the two maxi fuses that come with an American Auto Wire kit. So what you also get with this radiator is you get a brand new radiator overflow. So I ran the radiator overflow to that. I also redid my air conditioner line, where now it comes from the back of it straight up top into that's going into the radiator. And my dryer, which used to be up top on the back of the side panels, are now near down by the frame, and I'll show you how I have that. I made a mount that bolted to my frame, and then the Vintage Air dryer mounts to that. So now you can see I have my line that runs into it. You can see how it bolts to the frame. I have my AC line running nice and low away from the heater. Again, I had to do all the new wiring. I had to run wiring for the horns. The wiring comes down here for the lights and everything. And I also had to do the wiring you can see down at the very bottom for both of these electric fans. So what happens now is when I'm driving down the road, these fans never shut on. There's so much surface area on this radiator that the electric fans don't come on at all while I'm driving. However, when I stop at a stoplight, you can see the temperature start to come up. When it gets to 195, both of the fans now kick on, the electric fans, until it brings it down to 185, and then they shut off. When they shut off, it'll stay that way until again temperature starts to rise. So you'll feel it go up and down, hearing the fans come on and off when you stop at a stoplight or you're not moving at all, because there's not enough flow going across this radiator. In fact, there's no flow because you don't have any fan anymore, no engine driven fan. So, but the minute you start off, even if it's say at 195 and it brings the temperature down right away when those fans kick on, the minute I take off, it brings it down even quicker, and it'll shut the fans off totally, because it has plenty of movement with both of these fans through that radiator setup. And there's enough coolant in that radiator that it just turns everything, and no more overheating problem. Now, what I've also done, I never had a spare for this car. And I've always wanted to take this on longer road trips, but I was always worried about having a flat. I kept a spare tire well for that pure reason. So now I have a spare tire, and underneath here in a blue bag, I have a hydraulic jack. I have a really cool, let me show you what this looks like. It's kind of, I just found it in Harbor Freight, or as a friend likes to say, Hobo Freight. In here you can see I've kept the jack. This is only stuff for the jack. Now what I have here is, this is a fully extendable, if I can do this with one hand, you press it in and it comes out. So now I have a breaker bar to take the tires loose, and in order to bring it back, all I have to do is pull this and it locks back in place. So now I have a small ratchet set, which is easily stored in this bag, along with I have different lug nuts because it's obviously a different spare, different rim. So I've already tested it out. It fits on the front and it fits on the rear. So if I have a flat, God forbid, it will work that. What I also have to put on the top of this jack, because I was worried that this jack, hydraulic, I put it on the axle, and I was worried that that little piece there would slip off. So what I got was this adapter. It fits on the top of the jack, goes around the rear end. It also goes around my straight axle. So it's very easy and it's very safe in order to jack this car up. So now I have a good spare tire for front and rear, and no more overheating problem because of this brand new radiator. Again, I made this mount to mount the MSD box down low so it's out of the weather. I have the two relays that work the fans. I have the box there which runs my mega fuses for the American Auto Wire kit, and all the wiring goes through here that works the front end, comes right out down there, and that works all the horn, the turn signals, and the lights. So I tried to keep it as clean as I could in the front end. You have these two bolts which are actually going to hold the relay. These other bolts you see are already there. That's part of the frame. You can see it on this side too. So it's a nice setup. Again, it's by, let me give them a plug, by PRC, and it's a complete radiator setup that they have. And again, it's for 55, 56, 57 Chevy. They also have for other years, and it makes it look like a lot more cleaner install. You can see I no longer have the fan in the way here. I took off my fan, and over here, here's the temperature sensor that comes on at 195 and shuts off at 185. So the fans come on and then shut themselves off. So if you have an overheating problem with a high horsepower, I think they say this one's good up to 1,000 horsepower. So instead of running the small radiator, up your game, go to a bigger radiator. Now, it takes all of this in here, that's all that facing that allows it to have all that airflow coming through the radiator to help cool it down. So anybody that has a problem with overheating, that cured mine. You might want to check. There's other companies that make the same sort of setup, but I had a friend that ran this and he's never overheated. So don't forget, like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next go round. Gasser Dave, we'll see you later.